All right guys, welcome back to the Redneck Tech YouTube channel. Today we're showing you how you can enhance your drone footage. When we're using drone footage in our videos, 90% of the time it's either to transition from one scene to the next, one location to the next, or to show something specific that is just shown better with a drone shot. You have to remember that when you're using your drone, it's a video camera. It's just like your FX6 or your mirrorless. All of your same settings and rules of composition and all that apply. So what I mean by that is your shutter speed still has to stay double your frame rate, and then your aperture and your ISO is what helps control your exposure. Your aperture, even though you can change it on your drone, some of them go all the way down from 2.8 to like f16, it's not gonna do a lot because you're so wide. So really your shutter speed and your ISO is what's gonna be your friend. What I always try to do when I'm flying my drone is have two axes of movement at all times. What I mean by that is your drone flies up and down, it flies left to right, it pans left to right, and then the actual camera itself will tilt up and down. So you'll see here in this first example that I pulled that our camera is tilting up and down, and we're panning right to left, and the drone is flying backwards. And this gives it just a different dynamic of movement, because what a lot of people will do is they will just take their drone and just fly it sideways, or they will take it and just tilt it up and down, and that's not really giving you any depth. You can see the very beginning, you don't see camp, and then as we fly backwards and the camera is tilting down, it reveals camp. And this is one of those psychology of the shots where this camera tilting from nothing and then revealing camp tells you something's about to happen at camp, or we're at camp, or this is where this scene is starting. If this shot was the opposite and it started on camp and panned away from camp, that would subconsciously tell you that we're leaving camp, or the scene is moving from camp to somewhere else. This next one is a shot that uses a little bit of foreground, but it uses a reveal. So what it's doing is it's using this mountainside kind of to hide everything that we're about to see. But as you see here, we're about to start flying up. We're already flying forward, and we're gonna tilt down over the backside of the mountain, and it reveals this meadow. And it's a good location shot. And this is something, and the other shot that I showed previously, these are some of just the generic shots we're gonna get. Every time we fly the drone, we're getting 5 or 6 generic shots every single time. They're the same shot. And then depending on where we are, what the landscape gives us, whatever obstacles there are, that's when we get creative. But just like when we're getting in a tree and getting B-roll, this is just another shot of B-roll or a transition shot where you're getting your 5 or 6 generics that you get every time, and then whatever the scene gives you, that's where you get creative. This is something where we were able to get creative. This next shot breaks the rule of thirds, and you hear us all the time when we talk about composition and framing and how to add production value and things like that, how we talk about we very, very, very ever rarely center frame something. In this specific shot, it's a water hole. I was flying over some timber in Montana, just so happened to come across a water hole, and I was like, well, if this water hole's here, we could encounter other water holes on the hunt. We're gonna need some shots of it. So I just got some generic shots. One shot I like to get for something like this is you get directly above it, you center frame it, you fly down to the water hole, and then you do a rotation. Once again, I'm not just flying the drone, leaving it static and spinning, and I'm not leaving the camera static and just flying straight down. I have those two axes of motion, flying down and rotation, and you can see that this is a shot that there's no cars moving, there's no people walking, so I can use it as a fly down to get into the scene, or I can reverse it and post and use it as a fly out to get out of a scene. So one shot can be used for 2 different purposes. This one right here could be used as a transition shot or a scenic. We used it for a product deliverable for a sponsor. But what it does is it shows that you can use your rule of thirds and your leading lines to really draw someone in and add depth to a scene. Just a windy road in Missouri. We've got a truck driving down the road with a curvy road, and I fly the same direction as the truck. I pan up and it reveals the beautiful scenery and the road. But if you pause it, what you can see is no matter where you look on the frame, you see the road. The road is a line and your eye naturally wants to follow that line directly to the truck. So no matter where you start looking in this frame, you're always gonna be drawn back to the truck because of that road. And that's something that we do in video all the time, whether it's with the drone or with our big cinema cameras on a regular shoot, is we try to use leading lines to draw you in to a scene. This next shot is one that can be used for two purposes: bring you out of the scene or bring you into the scene. Super simple. All I did was fly away from the location and tilt my camera up to reveal more of the landscape. If you play this shot the way that I shot it, the camera flies backwards and it tilts up to reveal more of the landscape, to kind of bring you out or reveal the location that we were working in. If you reverse the shot, you're flying towards it and down in altitude, and that subconsciously tells you, okay, this is where the scene's about to start and this is where we're gonna be. Guys, it's pretty simple, honestly. Once you get the hang of flying a drone, they're super fun, and we usually find excuses to fly the drone just because it adds a bunch of production value. If you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social media, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have any questions about this specific topic, make sure to comment down below, and we'll see you in the next video.